This is fun. I'm excited. Okay, so I'm excited to learn a little bit more about you too, but I know as we were talking, I thought it'd be really fun for you to share a little bit about you, like about you, about your family, just about your life.
I've got 3 daughters here at home, very busy. They are all teenagers. So I've got a freshman, sophomore, and junior in high school. They're all in sports. So we've had quite a ride with the sports over the last few years. We've been in competitive dance, competitive cheer. We've traveled all over the country for it. We just this year have slowed down just a little bit on all of that. COVID kind of put a little bit of a halt into some things. But that is just kind of the gist of where I am as far as the kids. And I am married to an amazing husband, a very supportive husband. And then I have my business life where I run a coaching business. I am what people would say an entrepreneur, definitely. I've had a few businesses that I've started. I actually started having a cake business where I was a cake decorator. But with the kids and their sports, all of that was always on the weekends. So unfortunately, I had to set that business off to the side. And that kind of rolled into another opportunity at this yoga studio at the time, and they were going to close. It was just right down the street from me, and I decided to keep it running. That was kind of an interesting situation, and it didn't end very well. It was in a partnership, and unfortunately it didn't go well. As the doors closed to that, it opened up kind of a new opportunity, which actually part of the yoga studio, I had a clothing boutique, and the clothes were just kind of sold in the yoga studio. So that portion of it I kept, and I kept that going. Through all of that, I kind of found this darkness in everything that was going on with the partnership and the business and all of that kind of stuff. And I started to see a lot of changes in myself, and I knew I had to make a change. I lost myself. It was very dark. I was putting weight on. I kind of stopped working out. It was just really tough. So through all of that, I started my health journey, and that rolled into now I'm coaching. So I still have a boutique that I run, and I still do, I do the coaching. Both of them I really love doing, but coaching is it's just the one thing that really fills my cup. One of the things that I really love about it is because I've been in the place, so I understand what it's like to be in the place of somebody wanting change.
I feel like you're doing what you're supposed to do because you have a gift with that, and it totally comes through. You can tell it brings you joy to do it.
It's just every day it excites me. And, they always say that if you have a job that you love, it's not work. I just love helping.
I'm going to get into this a little bit more, but it'd be interesting. So obviously you are now a coach and you coach others, but you were also coached. And so what is one of the biggest things that you feel like you've learned or that's benefited you in your life in like being coached?
I've had many coaches in my life, but this coach, she was very pivotal for me because she taught me how to eat. There's coaches out there for everything, and you can go to a gym and have a personal trainer. You can go be coached in any sort of thing that you want to be coached in. But the thing that makes the most change is the nutrition. And I think that's the biggest thing that my coach taught me was how I can eat and have results and not feel deprived. And I think when I went to her, I was so desperate for change that I was like, I will starve. I will not eat if that's what it takes. I will just stop eating if that's what she tells me to do. And when she gave me all of my information, I was like, what do you mean? Like I get all of this food? And so it's been a lot of fun to be able to take a lot of that knowledge and experience and kind of morph it into my own style and way and be able to reach others.
I know a lot of people that are listening to this for the first time. We are embarking upon a new year, and I think everybody's like ready to turn the page to a new year, right?
I think so.
But with that comes oftentimes a readiness for change or just a desire to like turn the page. And part of that, at least for me, is nutrition and resetting. I know many of us, I don't know what the percentage is, like, look different. We want to lose weight. We want to feel better. And so we all have already started to see hundreds of ads for lots of things, cleanses, that try this, try that, 14 days this. And I know for me, it was always so overwhelming and a bit disheartening. And so it would just be so helpful, I think, to anybody listening, just to walk through the nuts and bolts of the approach that you found just to nutrition and training. And just like the no nonsense side of that, just to help people as they're navigating through all of this new year and all of these ads. What are the main things that they need to know?
You know, we've talked before about all the noise out there, right? Mm-hmm. And that's all of this, you know, lose 10 pounds in a week. And the first thing that these ads provide is false hope. A lot of resolutions focus on some type of weight loss. The unfortunate part is people buy into kind of these fad diets or short-term things, and then the goal never gets reached. And kind of come about March, we're starting to fizzle off a little bit. I feel like the biggest component is before you start something, anything, whatever you choose, ask yourself one question. Can I do this forever? That's the biggest thing, because if the answer is no, don't start. You're going to buy into a system or it's shakes or, you know, anything like that. Look at the financial commitment of that. What results are you expecting? And is that something you can forever do? Same thing if it's going to be keto, you're cutting out carbohydrates. Is that something that really you can do? Or do you enjoy bread? Do you enjoy, you know, these kind of things? That's something to ask yourself. The one thing that all of these diets all have in common, if a diet works for fat loss, not just weight loss, because this is one of the things that people are drawn to with the keto is we have this massive weight loss right away. But unfortunately, that's water. That's weight loss, not fat loss. Where when, you know, studies show compared to a normal caloric deficit and keto, the fat loss is the same. But people see that scale number go down. Well, it's water. So does that matter to you or not? I don't know. But I'm going to say there's no wrong way, because I can't make that decision for other people. You do have to determine what is best for you, but it needs to be sustainable. It needs to be something long-term, something that you definitely can see yourself making a lifestyle. It's not a temporary thing. People see dieting as restriction, and we try to really get away from that kind of restricted feeling. All of these diets, the one thing they all have in common, whether you're intermittent fasting, you're doing keto, you're doing paleo, whatever it is, if you're losing fat, there's one common denominator of all of those, and that's a caloric deficit. So we want to get in the gym and train because especially for women, it's very important because we start to lose muscle and we start to lose bone as we start to get older. We also want to be sure that we're holding on to the lean mass that we have. Lean mass is the muscle. I hear a lot of times people will diet and be like, oh, I'm left with this skinny fat. Look, I think a lot of people can relate to that too. And that's why we want to really get in there and get training, because the opposite of the skinny fat and what everybody is looking for is toned. I want to be toned. That is what that is. It's keeping that muscle. It might even mean building a little bit of muscle. It all works together, the diet and the training. And I would love to flip that question back to you as well, because you've been a client of mine now for quite some time. What has been the thing that has made this probably the most sustainable for you?
I think I'm like a lot of girls. I think by the time I was 16 or 17, I started trying all sorts of stuff, and I would get a result, but I would always bounce back because I would always refer back to maybe like those treats or snacks that I was missing. And then I would always end at the weight or above. And I would do that over and over again and ended up with some probably metabolic damage in time. And so I was really leery going into this, but I was like you, and just that I was ready. I was really unhappy with the weight that I was at, which kind of forced me out of my comfort zone to make that initial reach out. And I think we all kind of have that tipping point. I think it was a combination of things. It was the coaching, so it was you, and just the no nonsense approach. I remember feeling like, wow, this is a lot of food. I remember thinking there's no way I can eat all this food and lose weight. And I began to understand, and just that education process of the calories associated with foods, and that there's no good foods and bad foods. Because like you mentioned, I learned about being in a caloric deficit, but just the makeup of the foods and the importance of having enough protein and having fat in my diet, and that I could still have carbohydrates, and learning about the balancing of those foods, and also just having foods that I really enjoyed. I always really loved potatoes, but I oftentimes would cut out potatoes because the biggest thing I would always cut out would be carbs, because most diets cut out carbs. And so I think just the education combined with then just seeing the results, and not just results on a scale, but my clothing fitting differently, feeling less puffy, and just the confidence that resulted in that kind of creates a snowball effect, and it becomes a habit and a pattern in your life. And I think for me, I'm not super type A, so it can play well or not well. But for me, it allowed for creativity. So I didn't think like, okay, I just have to eat a chicken and broccoli. And anybody that's watching this, if they follow your page, they'll see all kinds, hundreds of kinds of recipes and just things you can modify. Really, I learned that I can eat everything that I love, and I just make a few edits to how I cook. And so, not cooking with oil, cooking with chicken broth. And, you taught me that. Using an air fryer to have my fries be crispy and not, cooking those with oil. So all of that's really helped me even with a sweet tooth. And so that's still something. It's not like it's always easy, because for me, once I start eating sweets, then it's like I crave the sweets, but I can fit in those sweets as part of just my regular day. And so I've even found recipes like that, like, just different protein mug cakes and things, so that I still get those treats and never feel deprived. I think it's truly something I could do forever. So that's a long answer to that question. But I think that the sustainability and combined with the coaching and just helping navigate some of those times that are hard, and just being willing to be honest with where you struggle, and then somebody that's been there and has fruit on the tree, I mean, that's been a huge blessing.
That's one of the things too about when you buy into like a system or product or a certain type of diet, whether it's keto or paleo or Whole30, it doesn't matter. Those kind of things, they don't work on the behaviors and they don't work on the mindset. And something that I had talked with a client about this morning was how heavy mindset is in dieting. I don't even really like the word dieting, but I prefer to use the word fat loss, just because no matter how we do it, this should just be the lifestyle. It should just be how we eat. It's just altering it. So we just add in a little bit more calories if we want to maintain. We take out some of the calories if we want to lose fat. And no matter where we go on this spectrum, or even up above in building muscle, no matter where we're at on that spectrum, our food basically should all look the same, so that we're getting in good nutrients, we're getting in good whole foods, we're getting in good protein. We're not cutting out food groups. We are allowing ourselves some treats here and there, learning how to do things off plan too, of, okay, it's date night. I want to go out to the restaurant and eat a meal with my spouse, or, whatever it is. We want to kind of create that balance and learn how to shift the mindset around all of that, because that is such an important part of dieting. And if you can't get that mindset piece, the maintenance part of it, which is hard in itself anyway, even when you have the mindset, the maintenance side just becomes too difficult if you don't have that mindset. Going back to one of the things you said about the increased confidence. I remember being in my closet and I would put pants on, I'd be getting ready for a date night or something, and I'd just want to cry. And I'd pull them off, I'd throw them on the floor, and I'd go through 10 pair of pants. This doesn't look good on me tonight, or this doesn't feel good. And I'm just like, oh, there's tight spots or uncomfortable spots. And I would be crabby or in tears before going on a date when it's supposed to be this great night out with my husband. And I can't even put a value on being able to go into my closet and put anything on and just be okay with it and feel good. That has been just priceless.
I totally relate to that. You've seen all along the way those changes. But to anybody that's listening, I remember feeling, seeing pictures like the beautiful ones of Tana from her show. And, back a couple of years ago thinking, well, that could never be me because I have this, I have the genetics, or I've had 3 children, or whatever these things that I told myself. And the truth is that you can. There is just something so powerful about a coach. And I know we all have had those experiences in a way, in our younger years, having a really good coach and the difference that can make in your life, because just the combined effort over time, just those little tiny changes with consistency, they make all the difference. And for me, it's been a reminder that it can spill out into other areas of my life. Like if I can have victory here, that means I can set goals in other areas and become better. And also, I feel like it has spilled over in joy. When we're happier with ourselves and who we are and our self-confidence increases, I feel like we're a better parent, we're a better friend, we're a better worker, we're just a better human. And so I feel like it's worth it, and you're worth it. And so that's, I guess, what I would say to someone that's listening. And I feel like Tana did a really good job, because we wanted to share with you a little bit like nuts and bolts, but just saying, okay, first, make sure you choose something that's sustainable, that you can do it forever. And the second, make sure if you're wanting to lose weight, you need to be in a deficit of your calories, right? And the third thing I heard you say is make sure you're training. So there's a few things in there that when I started, I would love for you to share with them, that maybe is a segue from our nuts and bolts into a little bit more detail. So if somebody's listened or listening this far, maybe this is a part 2 of it. And so they have those top 3 high level things, right? They know they need to be in a caloric deficit. So one of the things that I see a lot of women do, and I can say I've done too, is it's like, okay, well, I'll just do a deficit. Like, why not just jump down to 600 calories? Because I have a wedding in 30 days and I want to fit in that dress, or I just want to lose it fast and be done. And I am that way even still. Like, I did not get the virtue of patience. And so we want everything yesterday. And if we decide we do it, we want to see results tomorrow. And so can you just talk about that as far as the fat loss side of this? Because a lot of people that are watching, that's probably what they're hoping for. Help us along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you speak that, you watch me chuckle, because I've been there. And this is 99% of my clients. They want right now. They want fast, right? We want immediate. So there's a couple parts to that. It's a vacation or a wedding or a thing that you want to lose weight for. The reasoning for your fat loss or wanting this change isn't deep enough within you. It's more of a just kind of an aesthetic for a superficial situation. So usually fat loss will happen for that situation because somebody's driven for that. Then it all comes back because the drive didn't come like within. So I always like to have people reflect on, what is your why? What is that deep why? There's nothing wrong with wanting to look better at a vacation or an event or something. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong, some people come to me and say, well, this is just, I just want to look physically, I want to look better. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. And that might be your deep enough why. But that's the first thing is I would say, look at your why. What is your reasoning for it? The timelines are really hard because, and this is part of all the marketing out there, is lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. And you've got friends who are, oh, I lost all this weight and it happened fast. And where are these people 6 months down the road? Where are they 12 months down the road? If you can take a more sustainable approach, your results are going to be more sustainable as well. I always ask people to take that timeline out of their heads. This is for change. This is for your lifestyle. This is for forever. It's not for tomorrow. It's not for next week. So I look at where I was 4 or 5 years ago and where I am today. Both of them are very different. But if you told me that many years ago that it's going to take you X amount of years to get here, I would have been like, what? And just been like, well, I thought I could do this in like 5 months or, whatever. But being here now, that time has been priceless. I would not want to go back to where I was in that start point. If you can take a longer timeline and stop rushing the process, when you want to rush that process, you take those calories down so much, you get really hungry. And when you get really hungry, you get irritable. Your patience with your kids is going to struggle. And like you said, when everything's going well and you feel good, it spills over into other areas of your life. Same with this. So when you're irritable and you're not taking in proper nutrition, that's going to spill over into the other areas of your life. And you're going to probably feel high anxiety. You're going to feel stressed. It's not going to be a good situation. And then what's going to happen is you're going to cave because you're starving and you're just going to go and binge and eat. And then it's going to be well, I messed up, so I may as well keep going. The all or nothing mindset, which is one of those things that, again, probably 99% of my clients have the all or nothing mindset. And, we don't apply the all or nothing mindset to any other areas in our life or many other areas, but for some reason we do it when we diet. So yeah, it is just accepting a bit of a slower process for more sustainability in it.
The other thing that I was thinking of and that I've had to learn, and like I told you, patience is still something I work on in all areas of my life. And so certainly I remember feeling like, because I was so unhappy with where I was, like wanting it to all change in a blink, at some point, and I don't know what point that was, I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with just becoming a better version of myself every day. And I still love that. I fell in love with the pursuit. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why, and you know this about me now, but like why I like to continue to achieve, because it's you against you. And so continuing to understand, okay, I can do this and I can do more than I thought I could. And so, you get to that next kind of goal and you can keep achieving, because it's really pretty cool to see what our bodies can do, what our minds can do when we have a focus and a goal more than just a wedding or an event or what we even look at like on the outside. And so that's been a really fun part of the process for me. And I feel like has kept me going too over the long haul, just because I feel like I can go to bed more satisfied because I'm proud of myself, really. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a really good nugget as far as just learning that it's going to be a process, embracing that process and becoming creative and having fun with it.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, I can go to bed feeling better about myself. And that's because you've set goals and you've worked at them to achieve those goals throughout your day. That always feels good. And when we set a goal and we don't achieve it, it doesn't make us feel good. And so sometimes we need to just take a step back, and this is probably a topic for another time, but looking at those goals, and are they too big? Are they achievable? Are they realistic? Kind of breaking that down a little bit, because if you're constantly not achieving it, we need to assess what's going on. But one of the things you said is like, you can go to bed feeling good about yourself because you have done that. And it is that getting better. And I have my number one book that I absolutely love, Atomic Habits. This book is like out of this world amazing. James Clear, one of the things he talks about in there is the 1 degree better every day in whatever you do. We always want to go pedal to the metal and we want to go 100 degrees better, right? Just 1 degree is all it takes. And he gives an example of an airplane in California. If it takes off and the nose of the airplane turns 1 degree, it will land in a completely different state on the East Coast. That's powerful. 1 degree can make such an impact and a big change. We live where there's snow. So anybody listening to this, you know what this is like. It's 32 degrees out. What happens when it changes 33? It's slow, but it melts. It's that 1 degree change, right? That is really powerful. We need to also be sure that we're not taking things too far. We can have big goals and big dreams, but our steps to getting there need to be manageable and realistic as well.
That was really good too. Okay, so the other thing from that first part, so you talked a little bit about the caloric deficit and we just dug into that. The other piece that I would love for you to share a little bit about, and all the ladies are going to smile when I say this. So ladies, when we talk about weight loss and the first of the year, what's the first thing that we all do? More cardio. When I started working with Tana, I remember I was running and I hadn't really been changing, which was why I reached out to her. And so one of the first things I'll let her tell you, we really dug into was really on the training and the cardio side. So talk to these people about cardio and training.
Yes. So I'm not here to give cardio a bad name or a bad rap. I think cardio has its time, it has its place, but it is certainly not the driver of change. So the driver of your change is the nutrition. You'll see people in the gym, and maybe somebody listening to this, you can relate to this, is that you've been working out. I have so many people that come to me say, I've been working out and I'm not seeing change. And that's right. You're probably not going to see much change with the working out. If you're doing it just to get some movement, awesome. There might be other reasons to do it, but that's not going to be the driver of your fat loss or of your changes. It's a hard mentality to step away from, because there's like that heart rate and the heavy breathing and the sweat that we get from it that makes us feel like we've really done something. And when we try to shift that over to weights, it's a very different feeling. And I definitely have been in those shoes. And I had to figure out how to change that over to the weight room. That mental shift, it took months to shift that over, but it happened. And now I almost despise cardio. Now, if I have to do cardio, I'm like not super thrilled about it. I ask my clients to walk 10,000 steps a day. That's a lot. I don't do it for the aspect of cardio. I do it for the aspect because we need to be moving our bodies. We need it for our joints. We need it for our muscles. We do need it for our health. However, when it comes to the physical activity of cardio, like I said, there's going to be a place and time for some in your program, but they certainly don't need it to the extent that they think that they need it. Get into the weight room. If you've ever done Bulgarian squats, that's cardio. You're going to get your heart rate up. Even back squats, goblet squats, anything, lunges, you're going to get cardio in the weight room. You're going to break a sweat. Like I said, as women, we really need that resistance training for our bones as we start to lose our bone mass a little bit faster than what men do. We've got more hormones at play, and it's just really good for us to get into that weight room. One of the things that I see that holds people back is they're not familiar with it. They're scared. You walk into these weight rooms and it's people that know what they're doing, and it feels intimidating. And that's a very scary process to go through and to get into a weight room. A lot of gyms, if you have a gym, the owners or trainers or whoever will walk you through the equipment. They will take you around to the gym. They will show you around. They will show you how to use the equipment. You can show a trainer your program, and then they could walk you through some of that and show you how to set some of that up. I always say, get comfortable getting uncomfortable, but it's just that stepping right outside that comfort zone to reach out and ask for help. I would guarantee that a lot of people in the weight room would be very helpful as well.
Tana has been coaching me for over 2 years now, but I will say that my body has been completely reshaped. And so like when I imagined, what my body could or couldn't look like based on what I thought or genetics and all of that, I never thought that it could reshape in that way. And I will just tell you that you just got to give it the time and trust that process that will be uncomfortable. Especially if you do love cardio and you're used to cardio and in your mind, you think that cardio is going to be what's going to get you there. It's not going to get you there. And I have come to just absolutely love the weight room. And I know during some of the COVID times, I've not been able to go, and I've had to work through that mentally because it's a huge outlet for me now. And I really do just truly enjoy it. And I look forward to those training sessions. And so I'm just ditto fingering that.
We've got a big year coming up with you. This is going to be fun. I think
it's going to be a fun year.
It is going to be a fun year. So everybody stay tuned so you can watch what unfolds this year. I would encourage people watching this, if there's things that you want to know more about, to reach out and let us know, because I would be happy to talk about some of that too.
Check out Tana's Coaching by Tana page. There's so many good resources, and it's such a good place to get started with recipes and workout tips and just a whole community, because you can't and don't want to do it alone. So fun. Happy New Year, everybody.